Ready? Tonight, I want to teach y'all some stuff that I've known for a while, but I now have a good way to illustrate it. This video is going to be about camshafts and engine efficiency and how to fix it. Uh, first, I want to start off this video by saying that we're going to be looking at a bunch of data, and it's going to be kind of in the weeds, and hopefully, you can learn something from this. I think that you can learn something from this, and if you already know about this, that's fine too. Um, leave a comment below and tell me how much of an idiot I am. That's okay. What I want to show you here is how changing a camshaft affects how an engine and how specifically how turbos operate and how your engine operates. So this is all data from my own personal car. If you haven't noticed, I use a lot of data from my own personal car because a lot of my customers' cars I can't share data with you. So we use my car as kind of a test bed to learn new things and to go racing and have fun and keep me interested in doing this stuff. So I had a new camshaft done, and so it's 540 cubic inch big block Chevrolet. So that hasn't changed. Compression hasn't changed. Cylinder heads haven't changed. Intake manifold hasn't changed. Nothing else has changed except for the camshaft. Okay. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, and I hope that you guys will kind of play along here with me. I'm going to show you the two different camshafts. Okay. So the one here over here on the left was the old camshaft, and the one over here on the right is the new camshaft. So um, I'm sorry, in the camshaft there was another change here. This was a 4.7 swap big block Chevrolet firing order, and this was an LS swap firing order. That's what's in the car now. So, um, so anyway, the big takeaways here are duration at 50. Intake's 270, exhaust is 273 on the old camshaft, and duration at 50 is 274, 281. So we got 8 more degrees of duration on the exhaust, and we got 4 more degrees of duration on the intake. So low lift is a little bit lower on the intake, a little bit higher on the exhaust. So what what do we deduce from this, right? So what do we think of this? So just generic looking at a cam card, if you had this in an engine and you were going to put this in an engine, my initial instinct would be this one's going to have a little bit better manners down low, but it's not going to want to rev as high. This one's going to have a little bit worse manners down low, but still not bad at all. And it's going to want to rev a little bit higher, right? So that's what most of y'all are looking at this and you're going, yeah, that makes sense, whatever. And where do we get that? We get that from in the duration, whatever. The lift numbers are pretty close to the same. And I also need to preface this. Don't contact me for specking out camshafts. I don't do that. I don't know how to do that. The two camshafts we're looking at here, I didn't spec out either one of them. Okay. This one was the first cam. I should say the second cam. I kind of had some input on this, but again, this was extremely mild mannered. Drove around great, whatever, did great. This one, I told my engine builder, do whatever you want, I don't care. After I gave him a whole bunch of data from racing this thing for a year with his engine in it, and this is what he came up with. I didn't ask him any questions. In fact, I just got this cam card about a week ago, so I didn't really care, but I figured this would be good information to make a good video about. So we've looked at the cam cards. You can pause the video, look at this if you want, whatever. Now let's look at what happens. So 540 cubic inch, yada yada. Let's look at two logs. So the solid line, and hold on, let me just do this comparison. Get rid of the comparison. So this is the new camshaft. Okay. So if you look, target dome pressure is our yellow line. It's right here. It's all in by 1.8. Okay. So nice and slow, lazy ramp. It still netted us a great fast run, but it was a slow ramp, and it was intentional, right? And our target's to reach 40 pounds of dome pressure and then just hold 40 pounds of dome pressure to the end of the run. Okay. So if we look here, our target dome pressure, I don't have it up on the screen. Actually, let's do this. Comparison, show comparison. The old camshaft. Let's go to there. The old camshaft target is 35. And if you look, the curves are very similar, right? Nice and linear, smooth, little jump up right here, and then flat, right? All in by 1.8 again. Where are we at? 1.80. There we go. So we're all in by 1.8 in both runs. Now, full transparency here, this run was faster. The solid run was a good bit faster. But both of these runs are very, very similar. Okay, both have the same torque converter. Lockup is being engaged in low gear on one of them and not being engaged on the other in low gear on the other one. But it doesn't. That's not really what the point of this is. So let's look at before we get into boost and understanding that. Let's look at turbo shaft speed. So there's driver side turbo shaft speed. Okay. Now notice right here where boost is about the same, 42.3 pounds to 42.9 pounds. Turbo shaft speed is identical. Okay. And if you look, turbo shaft speed is really flat, especially out here. And this is where our focus is. It's out here in this last 3/4 of a second of the run. That's really where I want to focus on. But turbo shaft speed is really, really flat, lays really flat. Okay, in both runs. Passenger side turbo shaft speed, same thing. Okay. So I made a video on how to set up turbo shaft speed. You can watch that video and maybe learn something and set up your own turbo shaft speed. But needless to say, these are two very, very, very similar runs when it comes to boost pressure. Okay. Obviously, one came in a little faster than the other, yada, yada. But if you notice, let's look here. Let me get rid of RPM, get rid of target dome. Okay. So the old camshaft is the dotted line. It came up and overshot a little bit harder than the new camshaft. But if you look, boost, notice this dotted line. I can scroll out here. It stays really, really flat, right? It stays flat until here. It actually dropped a valve here on this run. This was when we were at a sick week in Florida in January, and it dropped a valve, and that's why boost kind of falls off. But prior to that, this is a very good indicator that boost stays nice and flat. And if we look at target dome pressure on the dotted line stays nice and flat. Actual dome pressure, right, stays nice and flat. Disregard this little hiccup here. This is after being after lifting off of it. So dome pressure just kind of drops real quick. But that is irrelevant to what we're talking about. So if you notice, this dotted line is nice and flat. But if you notice here, show comparison, let's shut that off. Right here, our dome pressure is still flat, right? Our target versus actual is pretty dang close, 40 is our target, 40.2, little variations here and there, 39.8, but 0.2 psi is not making up the difference. But if you notice, let's pull up RPM. Look at that. We start laying over and losing boost at high RPM. We are losing boost. So what is that about? Excuse me. So, why? Does anybody have an idea? Sorry, I'm used to teaching classes. I'm used to people responding to me. You're not going to respond because you're not here. So, notice RPM. Let's show comparison. Pull it up and show comparison. Zoom in a little bit. Notice RPM is pretty dang close to each other, right? So it's not RPM dependent. Okay. Look right there. We're within 100 RPM, 120 RPM of each other. It's not RPM dependent. If you think 120 RPM is making the difference, you're wrong. But why do we start falling off? So what I can tell you is, again, we're going to look at turbo shaft speed. Stays flat. Turbo didn't slow down. We did not lose air to the front end. The front bumper is the same. What this is boost is a measurement of restriction in the intake manifold. And the more pressure you have, the less efficient the engine is. Okay. So why did this thing now take more dome pressure, right? We got 5 more pounds targets, 5 more pounds, right? All through here. This is kind of, you almost kind of have to offset this a little bit because we're off by 5 pounds of dome pressure. Gate placement hasn't changed. None of this stuff has changed. And we're making the same boost, but it takes 5 more pounds of dome pressure. Well, the engine can breathe better. Okay. So once we get out here into a high load scenario in high gear and it's lulling there for a second, right? It's riding high gear for a second. The engine is efficient here. The engine's happy here. And what it's doing is it's ingesting the air more efficiently, and we're losing boost. Boost is starting to fall off. Okay. So what is the solution? Well, if I want to race this car at 42 pounds of boost, because that was really the target was to run this thing at 42-ish pounds of boost, right? So if we close the comparison, I'll show you, I got pretty dang close. All right. Right here is 42 pounds of boost on the nose. A little overshoot here just because lockup engages. This right here is the gear change. Dome pressure will jump a little bit from load. And the boost control solenoids do their job. And then this load change right here, where the lockup engages, shoots boost up a little bit. Why does boost shoot up like that? Hopefully you guys are answering yourselves, but if you're not, we made a dramatic change in RPM. Okay, so we were at 8,293 RPM here, and now we are at 6,838 RPM here. So turbo shaft speed's up. Right, there it is. Shaft speed is up. It's riding. Turbo's spinning. The engine just dropped, 1,300-ish RPM? What was that? 1,450 RPM? Okay. So we just dropped 1,450 RPM when I engage the lockup. That's why boost creeps up. Don't be shocked by seeing that, right? So we're now lower RPM, so less pulses per minute, and we have the same volume of air going into the engine. We start to increase a little bit, and we're back down, and we increase RPM back up here where we belong, 8,400, 8,300, and boost is settled in right around 42 pounds of boost. Okay, but then when we get out in here in the high gear, turbo hasn't slowed down, nothing slowed down, but the engine starts becoming a little bit more efficient, right? So it gets to settle down from all these lockup changes and all this stuff happening. And if you look, this line is straight here. This was our target, was 42. We're along this straight line. We have, again, another little jump right here when we see the gear change, right, or the gear change in the lockup engagement. And then it starts to fall off. It didn't have enough time to fall off because we had such a big peak here, right? The camshaft is letting the engine breathe better. So that's great. Very happy. Car runs great. Went 180, or you can see up here, this run is for 108, 277, 410, 185.9. This car weighs 3,200 pounds, has a 325 gear, and it drives around all over town and all over the country, really, on 93 octane pump gas. So can't complain. No complaints over here. But I want to fix this. Why are we losing boost? So here is a simple way of doing it. So let's go back into our global. Let's go to advanced tables. Let's go to 2D tables. I think it's this one. Here you go. Okay, boost offset. So I'm going to split screen this so it's nice and easy to watch. Let's get rid of that. There we go. So if we look at this, 42 pounds is our target, right there. That's boost time. Okay. So boost time is here. 42 pounds is our target. And if we start to fall off, right, which obviously this table was not active when this was going on, right? So dome pressure is 40, okay? But the target, what I really wanted to make was, so our dome pressure is right, like dome pressure on top of target, that's accurate, right? But we're losing boost, right? We're down 3 pounds of boost already here. If this run was out through the quarter, now we're down 4 pounds of boost. If this run was out through the quarter, this thing probably would have fell somewhere in the neighborhood of 36 pounds of boost to the top end of the run, right? So what do? Simple, advanced table, boost offset, right? So this is one of the beauties of Holley, is that if you can think of it, you can do it. A lot of the other EFI manufacturers, they box you in with, you have to do things our way and that's it. Holley says, I don't care what you do. So obviously this wouldn't work because TPS is below. But again, look at the name of this global boost offset demo video. So let's show you how to set this up. I just named it boost offset. The table type is a boost offset. X-axis is boost time, right down here. Whoops, right down here. And I don't want it to do anything before 2.5 seconds, right? I don't want it to screw up anything before 2.5 seconds, right? Because that's after 2.5 seconds, you can do whatever the heck you want with this thing, and it'll, you know what I mean? It'll just run better or worse or whatever you want to do out the back end of the racetrack. And then the y-axis is boost, right? So we have a y-axis of 42 or of boost, and I just scaled this to be from 30 to 50 because my target's 42. Okay, so if we get down to 30 pounds of boost, it's going to add 10 pounds of dome pressure. So what you would see in a log is this target dome is going to start to wiggle around, right? So right here, if I scroll on over here, right there, our target's going to be 42 pounds, right? Because we're down into the 40 pounds of boost range, right? We come out here, it's still going to be 42 pounds. Here, it's going to be 43 pounds because now we're down to 38.4 pounds of boost. Okay. Now, this is, again, don't use these numbers and say, oh, he said to use this. No, if you've watched any of my videos, don't copy and paste what you see in here and just shove it into your car. But this is a nice, simple way of using an advanced table to try to target that exact boost amount. Now, something that I have to explain to you, and here we can set this to be, and this is something cool. Another cool thing about Holley, we can make this table not work until front wheel speed is above 100 and I don't know. I'm just gonna guess 40 mile an hour, right? 2.5 seconds. What are we at? 2.5 seconds. Let's find it. I got too much stuff. Front wheel speed. There you go. So 2.5 seconds in. Yeah, right there. 127. Okay, so I was off by a little bit, right? So we got to make that above 120 mile an hour. So once front wheel speed's above 120 mile an hour, it's going to activate this, right? So I have to preface this with, this is going to take some tinkering to do. You're going to have to mess with this. It may require you to add, 4 pounds here and maybe, 15 pounds here, right? Again, we just highlight them all, copy, or highlight them all, and then we can hit C for columns. And then there we go. It jacks more dome pressure into it to offset, our problem. And if you have an overboost problem, you can do it here, right? So if you want to run 42 pounds of boost, that's what you're going to do right there. It's going to try to target that exactly by manipulating, offsetting dome pressure to add or remove dome pressure to reach your target. So something I have to explain here. What happens in between rounds is you come in here and you go to boost versus time and you go, okay, I want to do, I'm going to right click. I'm going to offset this whole thing by shift plus 3, right? So now we got 43 pounds of dome pressure. What is that going to net us? Well, if we wanted to make 3 more pounds of boost, if that, again, boost and dome pressure don't go hand in hand, but if you wanted to make 43 pounds or 45 pounds of boost, 3 more pounds, you would grab this whole thing right here and right click, offset selected, shift plus 3, boom. What did I do? What did I do? Right click, offset selected, plus 3. I don't know what I did. I don't know. I'm tired. But whoops, control Z, there we go. But either way, here, 42 is our goal. You can make this 45, and then you can make this 53, and then do the same thing here. C for columns, and then go 33 here, and go 45 to here. C for columns. There you go. So there you have it. Nice and easy. If you make a change in between rounds, make sure that you offset this. Why? So some of the questions that I've had when I explained how to do, or when I explained, why I would run a car at 43 pounds of boost or 42 pounds of boost or whatever the target is, right? Well, let me get off of this. There we go. Well, I know what the thing runs at 42 pounds boost, right? I can manipulate what happens earlier in the run and not make any effect to my to this table at all because it doesn't do anything until 2.5 seconds into the run. Um, I can now, if I wanted to, once I hit 42 pounds of boost, I can start playing around with timing. I can roll timing into the motor if I wanted to. I could try leaning it out. I could add fuel. I could do whatever I want, but it's always a consistent, hey, we should be at 42-ish pounds boost, right? So um, this thing runs rated 186 mile an hour with 42 pounds of boost in it. We're going to, we'll probably go up to about 45, 46 here this coming weekend, and I'll report back. I'll use this boost offset table. But this is, I think, a good way to do it. So hopefully y'all learned something. Um, hopefully you guys are questioning, you know, if you you've got the perfect camshaft or if you don't. And I'm also not here to tell you like you need to change your cam because that's not the truth. Like, if your car runs good, don't mess with it. If you're looking to, if you see this happening, don't be alarmed, right? The reason this video came to fruition is because I have a customer who I tune for, and he's like, man, it's losing boost in high gear. And I'm like, yeah, because we need to give it a little bit more on out there. So, um, not a lot, just a little bit. But we run his car at like 37 pounds of boost or something like that, 36 pounds of boost, and it goes like 183 or something. It's a small block. So, um, it weighs nothing, but it's a small block. It's fast. The So we do the same thing with his car. We just did it 2 weekends ago. Worked out great, and I figured I'd make a video. So give me a comments down below. Let me know if you already knew how to do this, if you didn't know how to do this, if you think this is useful, if you don't think this is useful. Also throw a comment in there about what you want to see videos on. So let me know. See you.